Hello, everyone. I'm Christopher Locke. I'm the IBPA Director of Membership and Member Services, and this is the Get to Know Your Member Benefits webinar series. And I'm very excited today. We're going to get a more in-depth look at the NielsenIQ BookData member benefit. And I'm very happy we have NielsenIQ BookData's Head of Business Development, Matthew Mansfield. Hello, Matthew. Welcome.
Hello, Christopher. Nice to meet you all.
All right, I'm going to disappear. Matthew's going to take it away. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So as Christopher said, my name is Matthew Mansfield. I'm the head of business development at Nielsen BookData. I'm going to today talk about Nielsen Book, about who we are, what we do, and our coverage around the world, and the services that we offer through the IBPA and their members. We've recently chaired a presentation to people across our services, BookScan, which we'll cover slightly today, and metadata. That was done by my colleagues Susie Warnock and Christopher Powell. I believe those presentations are available through the IBPA, especially the metadata one. So please do check those out. They're great. They're more of an insight into the actual data, whereas today we're overlooking what BookScan is and how it can be used, the benefits to the data. So I will start. So first of all, I just wanted to give everyone an understanding of Nielsen Nielsen BookData and our role in the publishing industry. We service and provide data to publishers, retailers, libraries, agents, and universities. They are predominantly our main clients, but many more. We work with game suppliers, consultancy companies, TV and film companies, because this data is very beneficial and valuable in many different ways. So we start with our sort of virtuous circle here. So the UK and Ireland ISB and agency, we run this in the UK, so it's similar to Bowker, and they run the ISBN agency in the US. We then have the publisher services, where this information is gathered from publishers. They register their titles on our database, the distributor, and the actual title itself, and all the metadata. That information is loaded onto our database because it then feeds out to our products and services. So it goes onto our database, and that then feeds out to our products and services. That kind of ties itself with the metadata services. We have 3,500 retailers worldwide taking our data in some shape or form, and that powers their websites and their tills and their stores. So that information that the publisher gives us that's registered their new titles, that's all feeding out to all of these retailers around the world. So you can see why it's very beneficial for a publisher to send us their data. And that doesn't have to just be a UK publisher. English language database we run. So it could be US. So US publishers can send their data direct to us by a title editor, which is a system we use that people can upload titles themselves, especially if it's a small amount, or an Onyx file for a large amount. Makes it quicker, easier once it's set up. And those titles are then going out to all the retailers around the world. Even if you're in America and you've got US books, the English language, there's a lot of people around the world that will still want to read those books. So getting them onto our system allows them to be fed out. So it's that we have a service that it's free of charge for a small amount of titles. And there may be a charge if it's a large amount of titles or there's extra data that wants to be fed out to our retailers. So not just a basic picture of a book, for it to also include keywords, long descriptions, short descriptions, table of contents, author biographies. So that's a sort of separate service. I don't want to muddy all that there, not right now, but it's available. I would certainly say it's worth having a feed to suppliers data just to allow that to be sent out worldwide. The order routing, we have the distributor details provided by the publisher when they register a book. on our systems, so that helps them support. So retailers or people using our online program can see the distributor and the distributor for any title, for all the titles, and the supplier. Then we've got our research services. So this is where we track and measure sales made in the UK and 16 other territories around the globe. So someone can see what book is selling and how much, when it was sold, bestseller lists, top 5,000 in children's, trends over time for categories, publisher charts, tracking sales for specific ISBNs or authors, and looking up sales internationally, and much, much more. We're able to see all the sales made, actual sales from the consumer across till point. So just going a bit on Nielsen and how it all started. So Nielsen's a very big company. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard of Nielsen, but originally it started the book part, and the book part only was founded by someone called Joseph Whittaker, who also owned and founder of the bookseller in the UK. And he started the company, Whittaker's, by cataloguing published books in the UK in the 1800s. Went around publishers and asked them what they were selling, the books they had, the data, and he wrote them down, started cataloguing them. Fast forward many, many years to the early 90s, Whittaker's was acquired by Nielsen, and they developed a product called BookTrack, which is BookScan, which is the sales data. They employed a person called Jeremy Neat, who's still with the company today. And they worked on bringing retailers on board so they could provide sales data to the industry. It's something that a lot of people wanted, but they had no such product. So it was convincing the retailers initially, the big ones over here, where we have like WH Smith, Waterstones, before Amazon was even here, to supply us their sales data, which obviously it was tricky conversations. They understood, but they had a clear plan, and they sold it to them, and it worked. And they started getting the data of what was selling. And this is then how it works with publishers. And there'll be a lot of, I imagine, publisher pressure at the time as well, because they want to know what's selling, not just their own titles, but the market and their competitors. And it's all an open market where they can all do the same to research titles and to inform their business decisions. So that happened in 1998. And fast forward, and we now have 17 countries around the world supplying us data, which it's incredible. And just to put that into context, the 17 countries, we're tracking over 1 billion sales every year. So 1 billion sales are recorded. And this is print books. So we're not covering ebooks here. We're just covering print book data here today. And there's 1 billion print book sales annually across 17 territories. 12 of those have over 80% market coverage, and some a lot more. It's a really comprehensive, measurement across Europe. And here are the territories. So we can see here the territories that we currently track data in, the market coverage for each of those. So you can see some territories like UK and France, extremely high, Switzerland, Italy, Australia, all well in the 90%. And then we've got when we started tracking. So we started with the UK in 98, just right at the end of 98, all the way up to, trying to find the most recent one, like Poland and Mexico and Colombia are more recent territories. And I just wanted to show you a quick picture of the UK. So obviously this can be done on any territory we track, but just to have a little look at a sort of top level of data here. So we've got for the last year, 2024, the last full year, 195 million books were sold, print books that is, in the UK, which was 1.7% down on 23. A 1.82 billion pound spend, which was 0.6% down on 23. But the average price has rose by 1.1% to £9.33. And then we can see over the last 10 years, the value and volume over the years, and we can see the steady growth. I know we're a little bit down on last year, but going over a longer period of time, you can see that we see the growth. And then just here it shows the top selling 5 books of the year. And this is sort of snapshot, top level data, which we can obviously dig very, very deep into, looking at trends and best-selling titles, long tails and trends of average price and value spent by category, really digging deeper into those categories or specific titles. And how is this data gathered? So this is a very similar method to all our territories, but let's say the UK. When a customer buys a book, it's recorded by Tillpoint, and that shop sends us their sales data every week without fail. Could be daily, bi-weekly, or weekly, but it has to be at least weekly. And they send us the shop identifier, location, then the ISBN, quantity, and price. We input that all into one of our databases. Now, in the UK and a few other territories, English language ones at least, we also run the ISBN agency. And we also have our own metadata system where publishers are registering titles on our database. So we have all that bibliographic and metadata title for the vast majority of titles. So from that, we merge the two systems together each week, and the link is the ISBN. And then we can output it onto our systems with some tidying jiggery to make the top 5,000, top 10,000, top 100,000 best-selling titles overall in the market, or just for children's picture books, or for romance. We can look at sales by author. I can type in J.K. Rowling and bring back every single ISBN with her name as the main contributor. Very handy, because good luck finding all those ISBNs. You can imagine the additions. So that is that metadata. It helps. It allows us to look at category trends and everything like that. I'm not going to say this for about 3 times, so I won't keep saying it. But that link between the metadata and the shop sales by the ISBN, and for territories that we don't have that ISBN agency, that we don't have the metadata sort of services where people registering their titles with us, we work with data aggregators. So for instance, Poland, we work with a company there, and they are a data aggregator, metadata aggregator, and we have a relationship with them where they send us the metadata. So we have a means to get that metadata to be able to fulfill all of this in territories we don't work the same as in the UK. And the data is updated every week without fail for every territory. So it's very, very timely. It's Sunday to Saturday, and then the data's out on the Tuesday for that last week. So it's extremely timely data. And how is the data used? I'm not going to read every single one off here. The slides will be available after, but I mean, you always got to research anything you do in life, I suppose, before you invest money. So to know you've got an idea of a book, to see what's out there already that's similar. So you want to research the market to say, okay, what's already been published and how did it do? Is there a lot in that area? Has it sold really well? When was it published? Sort of publication date range. What were the prices? Price point of that title, just to understand the performance of a title before you go further. And it's not everything, but I think it certainly is a big contributing factor to help inform before you go any further. You can see sales of your own titles, very timely, and also competitors sort of react to changes in the market. Print runs. This is with printing costs so high. You know what you printed. You know what you've shipped out, but you wouldn't necessarily, in a timely manner, know what's been sold. And I don't mean stock on shelves or in warehouse being sold at till point, but with this you do. So very, very timely. You can you can plan your print runs, have a better estimation of how much to print to save on pulpage, to save on initial costs. Track your competitors' titles and look at your own through a marketing campaign that you may do, or a release on Netflix of a film to see the effect it's had. And then some of the services that we have to be able to do this. Quick search. This is a product that I developed a few years ago. And what it allows us to do is very simple. And again, we don't track data, as you noticed in the US. We track in many territories around the world sales data, but US is not one. But obviously, English language titles and publishers that publish around the world, it's incredibly useful to know, and especially to see how it works in other territories. So quick search here allows us to look at UK print book lifetime sales. It's a very simple product where you can enter any ISBN that we track. Remember, in the UK, we have over 90% market coverage, so we'll have the vast majority. And it will bring back the volume and the value and the average selling price with the bibliographic data. Lifetime sales, and when I say lifetime, it's back to 1998 when it started tracking, and it's unlimited. You can only run one at a time. It's a single search product, but you can run as many as you like. It's 24/7 system, doesn't go down. And this is what it would look like. I import in the ISBN, you can export into Excel, or I can look onto it on the screen, and you have the bibliographic information with the volume, value, ASB, the highest chart position it's achieved. And this, like I said, is unlimited searches. And then the international timeline. And I think with English language, speaking territories around the world, and like we touched upon before, sales of books now become increasingly easier for a long time because of online, being able to sell around the world and to see performance. I noticed this with, not just publishers, authors, agents. They want to see, okay, I have an author that's come to me, and I want to see their performance not just in their home country, but how has it been in other territories? And you find sometimes they have this huge presence in Australia or New Zealand that they weren't aware of, and they obviously have an impact on how you work with that author, or if you take them on board. And for publishers, it's the same on how titles work around the world and their performance, and it can help and inform and make decisions. So into the international timeline, this, out of the 17 territories, there's 12 territories, and they're listed along the top here. It works a little bit similar to quick search, but not entirely. So what it does is it brings back sales data, lifetime, for any ISBN, but you can run up to 5,000 at one time. It's not just single search. We can also run by author with this facility. So again, my example with J.K. Rowling, a lot easier when you're running these big authors to know all their ISBNs. You can just insert by author name, and it would spit it back out ISBN level. We also have some specific timeframes and a bit of key metrics. I might go over too much detail there because I'm about to show you some slides where it will come a lot more clear. So here is a report. You can change the currency to US dollar, pound, or euro. And I ran some ISBNs for a book called Spare by Prince Harry. I'm not sure if he's still a prince. I know the author is a prince. I'm not sure if that title got removed or not. But he obviously did extremely well. I'm sure it sold well in the US as well, although I don't have the sales for it. Like I said, you can search up to 5,000 ISBNs at one time, and you can see the sales, the volume, and the value for every territory around and the performance. That's a lifetime, but you can also look at certain parameters. Now, these are fixed. The first 24 weeks, first 52 weeks, post 52, and then the lifetime. And you can see that there for volume and value. So there is some fixed patterns, but it allows us to, okay, we can see its performance for the first year and its whole lifetime, or the first 24 weeks. It allows you to break that down a bit to gauge its performance. And these are parameters that we're looking at adding to as well. So we'll have some more fixed parameters to that shortly, hopefully. And then, like I said before, you can search by author. So you may not know all the ISBNs, but you can insert the author and it will come back through an author's entire catalog that we're tracking and spitting it out by ISBN. So you put an author, but it's going to break it all down by the ISBN. And again, you can look at the sales pattern to see sales by those fixed parameters. And then we also have an additional summary tab. It's very top level, where it allows us to look at the market totals by territory. So it's lifetime data. So, for Poland, only back to 2019, but for the UK, back to 1998. And we can look at the top level data by country of publication, format, and international product class. And what I mean by that is if I flip to the next page, hopefully you can see this screen well enough, but you can have a look at, for instance, on the left-hand side, for my mouse. Okay, for the UK, adult fiction, fiction general, is £5 billion generated, an average price of $8.12. So $5 billion. But that is since 1998. So you can do that for any territory and break down its product class to see how much is made in total. And you can do the same on here for the format. It breaks it all down to the formats and the volume and the value and the ASP, the same as a country of publication, which is very useful to be able to see. So for United Kingdom, I can see $773 million from country of publication being the United States. However, this is, like I say, very top level. So I know it is quite insightful data. We can't break this down by time period. We don't allow it broken down by time period. So it is all on a top level. So it's a nice to have here. But I would say the true value of the product lies within this part where you can search for sales on any ISBN or author around the world to bring back those sales and see these sales parameters. This would be the main value of the product. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this page, but just to let you know, and I know you'll all see it on the members page anyway, those two products are available for IBPA members with a 35 and 30% discount. The promo code's on the page. So please do get in touch if you're interested. But what I also wanted to say is, taking away the subscription side of things, I think a lot of times people are interested in a one-off report. They want to see something specific. And that's absolutely fine. Everything we do can be done by one-off bespoke reports. I've listed a couple of examples there, but it could be that you want to see sales on one book because you're thinking about the publishing rights or publishing it somewhere else. Or I want to see how well this author's done over the last year around these territories. And we can absolutely produce that. It's a one-off cost, the ad hoc reports, very quick and easy to do. So if that is, again, anything you ever wanted to have a conversation about, then the email and contact details are on the website, and please do reach out. And we're always happy to have conversations, obviously not committing to anything, or we can at least have a chat about that data. So thank you very much for listening to me. I've got my email address there. If you have any questions, what I did want to do before pass back to Christopher is just to actually demo the website very briefly, just to show you, because it's going to be something you've seen just now on my slides. So I'm not going to bore you, but just to show you how it's done live. So hopefully I can make this transition. So this is the online system. It's on Power BI, and all you would need to do is simply insert an author or an ISBN. I've got an author all ready for me here, and you hit Run International Timeline. It's very fast, and here you go. It's bringing back all the titles under Sarah J. Maas. So if I scroll down to, so I'm going down, you can see some of these, obviously, big titles. Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, and so on. So this is very quick and easy system for us to be able to see the sales data of any author or ISBN. I can then do the exact same thing with a click of a button where it's sales pattern report, and it will break down those same ISBNs, but as shown on the presentation, it will just break them down further into these parameters, the first 20 weeks, first 52 weeks. You're able to have all territories like I've done, or you could just select specific territories if you only wanted to look at one or two and change the currency. Right. I am going to end there now. So it's slightly shorter than maybe the time. So you will get some time back for your day. But yeah, if there's any questions, please do let me know. But thank you very much for.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. Are you able to hear me again? I know your audio was going in and out a little bit, but we're all good. Maybe he's fixing his audio. I know some people do have some questions. And I wanted to get some clarification from you on the data in terms of, can you just remind us, is it brick and mortar stores as well as online retailers, or is it just brick and mortar?
Yes, Christopher. So it's bricks and mortar as well as online stores. So this goes for the UK as well as every other territory that we cover. So you will have your Amazons and Amazons, and then if it's Waterstones, we have that for the UK. It will be their online as well as their bricks and mortar store, but it's absolutely both. Absolutely both. But it is just print books.
Yeah, it's just print. Interesting to ask. There are some places that do ebook sales and then audiobook sales. Do you think Nielsen at some point will start to track that as well?
Yeah, so we do have a service where we do have ebook sales. We call it's PubTrack Digital.
Uh-huh.
It's done a different way though. It's not through the retailer sending us their data. This is through publishers' invoice sales. Reasons to why we do it this way there is. And it's just in the UK at the moment, UK and Australia. So
Okay.
what we do that is the publishers send us their invoice sales. We have about 65% of the traditional market, the major players predominantly. In the UK, they send us their data. It's 3 months in arrears, and it's monthly data. But we do track ebook data. It's not as large and robust as our book scan through the retailers. And we also have a books and consumer data, which we again do in Australia, India, and UK. And what that allows us to do, it's more of the who, what's, whys, and whens, the understanding the buyer. So we survey 3,000 book buyers in the UK each month with a whole host of questions. But it's more about understanding the buyer. So who is listening, who is reading Sarah J. Maas? Where do they live? What's their average income? Where do they shop? What do they watch? What social media, are they on? Understanding the buyers. Do they normally get trains, public transport? So, a company may use it. A publisher to advertise on the subway. They know that, it's middle class, female or male readers that get the train. So, like I say, it's understanding the buyer. So there is the survey-based data as well. So we do, and with that data, that also crosses into ebooks, audio, print, all formats, because it's just what people are buying.
Yeah, and another question kind of digging into where you get some of the sales data. So, there are independent bookstores, There's also places like Target and that are like department stores, but then there's
Mhm.
also like gift shops, right? Where they're, tiny. Like how granular do you get with like all these places that sell tons of other stuff, but they also sell books?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's the same methodology for all territories, but I'll speak about it from the UK. Um, we have thousands of retailers, thousands upon thousands, and these span over pretty much all sectors. You have the majors, we understand that, but we have many, many independents, gift shops, places like this. And it's really, we want as best coverage as possible. We're a measurement company, but it's the company has to have a certain degree, like EPOS, to be able to facilitate and send that data. They have to want to send it us as well. But we're continuously having conversations and we're approaching people. And because Nielsen is so well known, especially in the UK, many retailers are always coming to us. We actually have regular events. So the Hay Festival in the UK we have it's a regular event. It's not a pop up event once in a once in a lifetime. It's a regular annual event. So we have ways of tracking and measuring their sales box. I'm just trying to think of different areas, even with um, like Lulu Crate and places that are having subscription box sets. We measure those. Again, we establish to make sure, okay, yes, it's a subscription, your a book's kind of picked for you, but it's still a sale of a book. Someone's agreed and signed up for that. So we get very granular to all areas. And we're continuously speaking to, publishers that might say, is this retailer on your panel? Is this retailer? And they can be very niche.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of the times, we don't really advertise every single independent retailer, but we would say, speak to the retailer. And if they're not, tell them to have a conversation with us. We're always more than happy. But yeah, no, we have thousands of retailers down to very small independent ones and gift shops and areas like that.
Great, thank you. So someone is asking, what is your average client size? So our membership goes from independent publishers that are just starting out to medium size to large independent publishers, even author publishers. So they're wondering who's the clients that normally use Nielsen IQ book data?
Yeah, so I mean, because we have quite a varied set of services, ISBN, and maybe we won't really talk about that because that one's a bit obvious. I mean, literally everyone, every size, because they need an ISBN. But we have our metadata services and enhanced, feeding out data to products, as well as our book scan services. And these range from self-published authors with one book to your major, I'm not going to name any publishers, but to the biggest publishers. Um, yes, the bigger the publishers, we're gonna have a lot of those. This obviously data is very crucial to how they operate, and they're going to take the larger services and large amounts of data. But we work with every shape and size, and this is part of the reasons for like the quick search. And again, I know this isn't US data. I still think it's very valuable to people in other territories, but taking that, it's obviously very, very valuable for the people in the UK. So creating this product, which does have its limitations, but then that's reflected in the price. It allows the smaller publishers to access data, which it's all about. Everyone, we want everyone to be able to, use the data, be on a level playing field. So we go from self-published authors, because we have a lot of products that are a very low price point, to all the way to major publishers. We have a lot more small publishers and big publishers taking our services, predominantly because the pool for small to medium sized publishers would be a lot larger than the majors. But sorry, it's really, really long winded. But we have all shapes and sizes. We have all products for I would like to think for most people.
Okay. Is there anything in particular for someone who's a small publisher that, or someone just starting out, or maybe that are like 3 or 4 years into it, that are the services that you recommend that are like, okay, these are for just starting out. If you only have, let's say, 10 books, something like that, versus someone who has, 100 books.
Yeah, I mean, I would say registering your titles with us is, I mean, is it definite? If you set up a title it's a account, it's a free title, there's not a charge to it. And you're registering your titles in a database, which is a huge advantage. You know, you that then gets out to 3,500 retailers around the world, and there's not going to be a cost for that. So you know, why wouldn't you do it? And of course, it's great for us because you know we build our database and we have more titles that are feeding out to our products and services. Sometimes titles find their way on our system. You know, we have other things and we take feeds data from like Ingram and places, so we have data, but it will never be as rich or up to date as accurate as the publisher themselves. So I would say certainly look at that. And then if they are books that they really think there's a market for in around the world, then the enhanced service, which allows those keywords, which allows those descriptions and table of contents to feed out to the products and services, which we do white papers on it, but it's not going to take a white paper to tell you that it's going to increase your chance of selling. Again, and the cost for that for a handful of titles is incredibly small. So, you know, we're talking for, you know, under 10 titles, it wouldn't be more than, try a quick conversion in my head, about $250. I understand it's an amount of money. I completely understand, but it's not an almighty amount. And that's an annual cost. And then for research services, so for sales tracking, yeah, I would say the international subscription, you know, it's always going to be a cost of the value to yourselves, the resource you have, because someone needs to look at that data um, towards a cost. But with the quick search, a lot lower priced product. But I would also say ad hoc reports. So a lot of the times people just want to see something specific. It can be quite tailored. So we can do all those things on bespoke reports, and we can we'll talk with the individual. What are you trying to get? What are you trying to get from this? What's your end goal? We're all really nice, and you know we like having these conversations, and we can have this conversation. At the end, and you're like, yeah, that was quite good, but I don't want to get it for this reason. That's fine, but we can work with you, and I would always like to think we can make something work.
Yeah, and I do want to reiterate that IBPA members for the quick search get a 35% discount for the first year. And then for the international timeline, IBPA members get a 30% discount for the first year. So I hope people will be taking advantage of that. Those are the questions people had. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Matthew?
Um, well, firstly, I want to say thank you to you, Christopher, and the IBPA for having me here. It's a wonderful organisation that I've sort of well, not stumbled upon, but been speaking to more recently. I think there's a lot of great services there, and I'm you know we're really happy to be a part of it. But I would just like to say that the presentations are available online for everyone to view, to read. But also, please just any type of question, no matter how big, also to how small, just reach out, send an email because we will respond. So please just ask questions. You know, there's no there's no question that you know that we can't really answer. So we're more than happy to. So please just yeah, drop us a line, and we're always more than happy to have a conversation.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you all offering this benefit to our members. It's very valuable information, and it's nice for our members that you know, they get a discount. As I said, some are smaller independent publishers, and they may have a smaller budget. So thanks for helping them get access to this data. And again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Matthew, thank you, and we'll be in touch. I hope everyone has a fantastic day.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.